What's up, guys? Cam from Drew Connection here, and I want to talk about something which you have to be able to recognize in yourself. And it's this idea that you think that if you do all of the right things, you do all of the right moves, all of the right jokes, all of the right choices, you get like the good hairstyle, the good this, the good that, then you're gonna have like a good girl or a good whatever, a good a good result. Sometimes good results are just accidental. They're just happenstance. You might see someone and they might have something that you want. You might think, oh, how did they get this? And the funny thing is they didn't get it. Like they didn't get it in the same way you might get something, like the same way you get your law degree or your medical degree, right? But if you're the kind of person who's in this mindset why you think you have to do X set of actions in order to produce Y result, then that's how you look at the world, right? If you've had to strive after something constantly, then you can't just let things kind of fall into your lap or happen on their own, so to speak. Even though that is a little bit of a weird idea, right? But the point is, sometimes you have to stop putting people on pedestals, and think, how did someone get X girl or X Y? It's not always because they did everything right, and you might be a bit of a perfectionist or a bit of a whatever, and you might think, the way you judge yourself and your, the quality of your life is proportionate to you doing things right. Like, you've done this right, you've paid your taxes right, you've kissed your mum, you've supported your family, or I mean that can be a bit altruistic, but maybe like, oh, you've been to work and you've got the right marks on your exams, right? That doesn't necessarily equate to like romantic success or social success, or just necessarily like leading to general like flourishing, right? Those can just be ticking boxes, and sometimes it's not necessarily about ticking boxes. Ticking boxes doesn't necessarily get you what you want, and so sometimes it is just a matter of luck or good fortune that things can happen, right? And so what am I saying to you? Am I saying that you shouldn't take action and try and improve yourself with girls, or you shouldn't try and maximize your opportunities? No, I'm not saying that. But sometimes it is just kind of there is a mixture of luck and effort, and in these kind of realms, it's not as if you do things perfect and you get the perfect thing, right? You could do things perfect and you could get the worst thing. You could get someone who's just like totally not buying into what you like, not buying into the kind of vision you have. And so you have to be careful not to be like suckered into this fantasy that like, oh, I just play my cards right, then things are gonna just magically work out for me, and like I'm gonna have the nice wife and the nice this and the nice that. It doesn't work, You have to submit to some level of vulnerability to different outcomes occurring. But how does that affect you? Like, how does that affect you and your behavior? That's the main thing. So if you talk to a girl like this and you have this kind of attitude, it's like sometimes you might be putting pressure on that girl or whoever. You might be trying to qualify yourself. You might be trying to portray yourself as someone who like does the right things. Like, I go to the gym this amount of times, and you make this many meals, and you make this many phone calls, or you get this much money. You might be trying to convey yourself in that way, and you just end up digging yourself a ditch, right? Because it's like, why do you have to go to that extent to like validate who you are, or like get some kind of approval or confirmation that like that what you've done has paid off, right? not just in terms of money, but in terms of favorability. Like people thinking, oh, this guy is solid, right? So you have to stop thinking like this whole thing is like checking off some boxes, and if you get them all right, then yeah, you're gonna get rewarded in this way with like love or sex or whatever. Um, and then when you drop that attitude, you you might not necessarily fare better every time, but when you drop that attitude, you're not gonna have this like chip on your shoulder as much when you talk to people, because it's like you're not thinking so logically, like, oh, um, if I don't have this, then it's gonna go bad, or if you do have this, then it's gonna go good, right? You get rid of this like conditional thinking in your brain. Instead, you just start having fun. And if you wanna really be into that true connection kind of vibes, you need to be able to just like have fun in a way, right? Have fun and not think in this like linear way, like, oh, um, I have a good suit on and I have a good hairstyle, like therefore everything should just fall into place. So no, things can happen like out of nowhere, good things, bad things. And so by getting rid of this mentality that you have, this very logical mentality, um, you will open yourself up to something which some success, some weird unexpected things. Um, as much as you can go in a process of like making yourself more charismatic. Of course, you can do that, but we're trying to get you out of this like kind of beggars mentality, where it's like, oh, if I be a good boy, if I be a good this, if I good that, then you're gonna get a nice pat on the back and a nice, oh, here's a kiss on the cheek. It doesn't work like that. The more you think like that, the more should we say depressed you're gonna be, because it's like reality isn't gonna show up that way, um, unless that other person happens to be in that mode as well, right? Like you're talking to someone who also feels the same, like they need to be so kind of conformist in like what they achieve, or like how others treat them. Um, but yeah, guys. Yeah, so just remember that, life, success, being good with girls, being socially cool. It's not about like whether you've done X or Y. It's not like this logical thing. Um, so if you want to do something nice, like if you want to wear something nice, wear it. If you want to buy something nice, buy it. But stop doing it so you can get these outcomes. Yeah. Okay, guys. True connection. See you next time.